Shalom. Call Haloyim Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Ba'ashem Chakwadash Shanyakabad Gadwala Requab Zaquanyam Nawa Wa Shalayakim Nawa. That's double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone and Shalom Wa Barakim Labakaryam Shalayasharala. And that's peace and blessings to the elect of Israel. Wanted to make a quick video concerning this article that was sent to my Gmail. I have specific alerts on, so this is one of the articles that was sent this week, actually yesterday, April 4th. And it says over 1,000 major investors believe a worldwide recession is just around the corner. Definitive survey says so. Esau's astrologers, his stargazers, his monthly, I think it says prognosticators, are all failing him. These are top investors that are all predicting the same exact thing, a worldwide recession. And it's not just going to be a recession and that's it, because you can come back from a recession. A recession is just a slight decrease in this example, the world economy. We're not talking about a decrease, a slight dip, and then all of a sudden things go back to normal. What's about to come is not even a collapse. We're talking about the complete destruction of Babylon the Great, the complete destruction of this kingdom. And as it is written in the book of 2nd Ezra, the 6th chapter, Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So this is what we're looking forward to, so that righteousness can finally reign on earth. And what I'm going to do here is start off by reading a little bit of this article. We'll get the major points, and then we'll grab some precepts. So it says, and Salakia about all these stinking ads. As you can see, there's so many here. But through the Spirit, do your best to just look past it and gather the spiritual information that's being brought. So the first paragraph says, the Ukraine war has sent international markets roiling, I guess, and investor morale spiraling, just as the global economy appeared ready to rebound from the stagnant years of the pandemic. Investor confidence in the Eurozone is now at the lowest it's been since the early days of the pandemic in July 2020, according to a new survey by the Germany-based Centix Economic Indicator. Even worse, it finds that a worldwide recession is just around the corner and Europe will be hit first and hardest. But there's an even worse finding tucked into the survey. Morale also fell in the U.S. and Asia, and while the economic outlook in these regions is higher than the global average, economic performance forecasts in every part of the world are all trending negative. So economic performance forecasts in the entire world are all trending negative. Probably the GDP, what is it called? You have the non-farm payroll over here in the U.S., the NFP, and so many more, I'm sure. Different industries are probably in the negative, basically is what they're saying. And so we're looking at a worldwide recession here, and this is what's going to happen in order to usher in what's known as Jacob's trouble. Jacob's trouble is going to be a time that never was, nor shall be. And we're going to lose certain comforts. It's not going to feel good in the flesh, but spiritually, we're going to be okay. And as long as we trust and believe in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, we don't have to worry about this so-called recession that's coming around the corner, because it is going to come, and it's going to be bad, but that's cool. It's only going to be bad, once again, quote unquote, in the flesh. Our spirits are going to be on fire, going to be fervent, going to be excited about this time to come. I want to read a little bit more. It says, for 20 years, Centix has produced weekly and monthly assessments of global economic morale based on thousands of investor responses. It calls itself the leading provider of behavioral finance data and consulting in Europe. So it's basically an economic indicator based upon the morale of thousands of investors and their responses. For this indicator, it surveyed the attitudes of over 1,200 investors in the first few days of April on their outlook towards specific regions and countries. Morale dropped most precipitously in Europe, where investors have grown skittish about the ongoing war, which shows few signs of abating anytime soon, and that's true, and the consequences of Western sanctions cutting Russia out of the global economy. It says internationally, just skipping over now, the declines are smaller, but the trend is the same everywhere, the survey authors wrote. Investor survey by Centix said that the war, sanctions, and their effects on slowing down the global logistics industry are sparking fears of an international economic shrinkage. Analysts at Centix say that an economic recession could be hitting parts of Europe as early as this month. And you know, whenever something big happens around the world, then it quickly comes over here to Babylon the Great. This is the last paragraph, so we'll just read it. It says, the survey says that uncertainty as a result of the war will combine with global inflation to create a new type of economic crisis that is largely without precedent. That's Jacob's trouble. In times of market uncertainty, an option for central banks is to blah, 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 blah. Okay. So, as you can see, basically, based upon this economic indicator where they use the responses of thousands of investors, those thousands of more than likely top investors are predicting that there's going to be some kind of huge worldwide recession that's coming. And they were saying that Europe is going to be hit first, but it's going to be coming to the rest of the world as well. And these investors are known as Esau's monthly prognosticators, his astrologers, and his stargazers. And right now, they're failing Esau. They're supposed to be telling him something good. They're supposed to be saying that the stock market is on the rise, the job market is up, these industries are all trending in the upwards direction. You know, people are getting paid, money is in circulation, and all is going to be well. But no, as soon as this so-called pandemic started to decline, we don't have to wear masks anymore, then boom, out of nowhere, you have this Russia-Ukraine conflict that's been sending the markets globally, the global markets, sideways. And I trade Forex on a daily basis. And even myself, I haven't even been in the markets for the past 2 weeks because you have to know when the markets are trending or when they're just going sideways, whether they're in a tunnel. And you don't want to trade when they're not trending. So even myself, I've been seeing it firsthand. I'm going to start in the book of Isaiah 47. And honestly, I'm going to speed read through the entire chapter because it's good. If you had a keen eye, you saw the point was in verses 12 and 13. But I'm only going to read 2 chapters here. So I'm going to read the entire chapter starting at verse 1. It says, "Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon." That's America. And I'll sum up as we go quickly. "O virgin daughter of Babylon," that's America, "sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate." So America is going to be put out of its kingdom. "Take the millstones and grind meal. Uncover thy locks, make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man." Because through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, the prophets of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai have been able to uncover all of Esau, Edom's wicked secrets and the things that he's been trying to uncover for years, and he's being made bare. That was verse 3. So verse 4 says, "As for our Redeemer, the Lord of hosts is his name, the Holy One of Israel, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Sit thou silent and get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans, For thou shalt no more be called the lady of kingdoms. I was wroth with my people. I polluted mine inheritance, and given them into thine hand, and thou didst show them no mercy. Upon the ancient hast thou verily heavily laid thy yoke. And right now, till this day, we are still in the land of our captivity. And thou saidst, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to thy heart, neither didst remember the latter end of it. Esau just lived deliciously as he had us in captivity, and he treated his slaves horribly. And he didn't think and consider that the Most High was going to require everything that he's done unto us, and now he has to pay for it. Therefore, hear now this, thou that art given to pleasures, that dwellest carelessly, that sayest in thine heart, I am, and none else besides me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. Esau thinks he's the Most High. But these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood. They shall come upon thee in their perfection, for the multitude of thy sorceries, and for the great abundance of thine enchantments. It says it's going to happen in one day, in a moment, in one day. The loss of children and widowhood, because nuclear destruction is coming to Babylon the Great in the midst of World War III, and Babylon, aka America, Babylon the Great, is going to be completely destroyed in one day, in 1 hour actually. Verse 10 says, For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, for thou hast said, None seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee. And thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. Therefore shall evil come upon thee. Thou shalt not know from whence it riseth. And mischief shall fall upon thee. Thou shalt not be able to put it off. And desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. So there is no healing Babylon. There is no recession, slight decline in the economy, and then boom, the stock market's going to go back up in the upwards direction. They're going to be on a bull rise again. No. When this thing hits the fan, it's all over. You're not going to be able to heal Babylon, as it states a few chapters over, actually. Verse 12, Stand now with thine enchantments, and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so be, thou shalt be able to profit. If so be, thou mayest prevail. And this is the point. Thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up, and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. They're supposed to be saying good things, letting Esau know positive outcomes for the future. Babylon the Great is doing okay. We've come out of this pandemic, and the stock market is going to go back on that bull rise. The job market is going to be great. We have a lot of people working, plenty of slaves. But no, people are still quitting their jobs right now, not wanting to go work back in the office. Shoot, that's how I feel. But you got to eat. So these astrologers, stargazers, and Esau's prognosticators are failing him, talking about thousands of investors, or at least 1,000 investors, based on that survey, that indicator, all predicting that there's going to be a worldwide recession. And it's not going to get any better once that hits. So that was a point, but we will finish out the chapter, only 2 more verses. Behold, they shall be as stubble, the fire shall burn them. They shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. There shall not be a coal to warm at, nor fire to sit before it. The nuclear missiles are going to completely destroy Babylon the Great. Thus shall they be unto thee, with whom thou hast labored, even thy merchants from thy youth. They shall wander every one to his quarter, none shall save thee. I said we were going to read 2 chapters. So the second one that obviously relates directly to that end time prophecy is the book of Revelation, the 18th chapter. So we read, and it was called the virgin daughter of Babylon. In this chapter, America, it is called Babylon the Great. So we're going to read not the entire chapter, just starting at verse 1 through 12. It says, "And after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. Every single inch of Babylon the Great is going to be destroyed." Verse 3, "For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants," there goes that word again, "and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies." And these merchants want to see America continue to thrive so that they can make money. Abundance of her delicacies, that was verse 3. We're on verse 4. "And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues." This is talking about the elect receiving deliverance, salvation. Verse 5, "For her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High hath remembered her iniquities." See, the Most High hath remembered her iniquities. Remember in Isaiah 47, it says, basically, that thou thinkest that thou sittest, will be a lady forever, and sayest in thy heart, Who seeth me? For I am. But, oh yeah, and it also said that they didn't consider their latter end. And I'm saying they because whenever we're talking about the virgin daughter of Babylon or Babylon the Great, we're talking about the people connected to this place, which is Esau, Edom, the man that's been given the power right now to rule the entire earth. So they didn't consider that the Most High was going to require all their evil acts in these days right now. But verse 5 said that the Most High remembered her iniquities, talking about Babylon, Esau, Edom. So verse 6, "Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works. In the cup which she hath filled to her, in the cup with which she hath filled, fill to her double." There we go. So these Edomites are going to be in captivity for 1,000 years. Double. It says, verse 7, "How much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously. So much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow." So we're seeing the same exact wording here, terminology. "Therefore shall her plagues come in one day." Remember, same terminology, in a moment. It says death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong is the Lord God who judgeth her. And the kings of the earth, who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her, shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour, 1 day, in a moment, 1 hour, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come." So these merchants are going to be crying, seeing probably on the news that Babylon is getting destroyed. Maybe even, who knows, seeing the smoke as it descends into the heavens. Who knows, wherever they are. But these merchants are going to be crying, not because they love Babylon so much. They loved America so much, and it was such a beautiful place to come to and to visit and to have vacation and blah, blah, blah. But because they know that their businesses are going to be failing now. They're not going to be able to sell their goods over here anymore. And then there's going to be a new takeover. New Jerusalem is going to come out of the heavens, aka the 144,000, the tabernacle of David. And through the Spirit, but I'll say we, speaking optimistically, are going to establish righteousness through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. I'll read verse 11. It says, "And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise any more." And then it goes on to tell you about the merchandise, what's been sold over here in Babylon the Great, the city's falling. That was a point, though. It just goes in to reiterate, in 1 hour, so great riches come to naught, so on and so forth. So I wanted to bring out those two chapters as they relate to this article. A recession is around the way, around the corner, a worldwide recession. But now we're talking about much more than just a recession, much more than just an economic collapse. Jacob's trouble is coming, and then Babylon the Great is going to be destroyed. And right now, his monthly prognosticators, stargazers, they're all failing him. They're all failing him. So this is very, very sudden. Continue to build up your faith in the Lord. Increase your spirit. Ask that he increases your faith in him. Nothing is wrong with that. That's what we should be doing, and watching and praying. So call Haloyim, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai.